Well, from north to south, Chinese President Xi Jinping told African leaders on Friday his country would provide $60 billion for development projects, cancel some debt, and boost agriculture over the next 3 years in the continent. Now, Xi was speaking at the opening of the China-Africa Summit in Johannesburg. Xi, who is co-chairing the forum, outlined a broad 10-point development plan driven by the Asian economic giant, saying he wanted to build a relationship of equals. Now, for some insights, Eric Chinje, Chief Executive Officer of the African Media Initiative, joins me live via phone from Nairobi. Eric, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you very much, Vincent. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, I know you just came back from that conference. Give us a sense of what the $60 billion can really do for Africa.
Well, it'll depend a lot on what Africa wants to do for itself. And the Chinese are not in a losing game here. They're here to hopefully mutually find opportunities for China and, in the process, help in building Africa. Now, it's unclear what exactly the Africans are looking at. I mean, is it just the money, or they're actually looking at projects that have been defined, have been refined, and can be financed? It's not clear what's coming up on the African side. I think.
Now, Eric, this relationship has been suspicious from some quarters. Some have felt that China is actually gaining much more, but China says they want to build a relationship of equals. What is your assessment?
Well, first of all, you might have heard Carlos Lopez say recently that all of China's investments in Africa account for less than 1% of its global investment. So this is a drop in the bucket for China. For Africa, it could mean a whole lot. But it would only if, as I said earlier, Africans know what it is they want. I still do not see an African agenda. I do not see projects, railroads, highways and byways that will help in building the African economy. I do not see any plans by African countries to radically transform their own economies, especially the commodity-dependent economies of the likes of Zambia, for example. They still have not been able, when prices were high, to diversify that economy. There's nothing China can do. Not $60 billion from China to Zambia alone will make a difference.
Yeah. Very quickly, as an African Media Initiative CEO, what is your interest in the media and China?
Well, first of all, we had kind of a China-Africa summit on the sidelines of this event. And from my perspective, there's a need for a couple of things. One, for both countries to know, for both parts of the equation, Africa on the one hand, China on the other, for both to know each other better. So, and in that regard, media can do a whole lot. We need to strengthen African media in many ways. Both in terms of the technology, in terms of its capacity, in terms of its access to resources. We need to strengthen all of that. And in my discussions, I'm not totally certain that that's part of China's agenda, but that's something we've got to give. We've got to impose that.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll talk a little more about that some other time. Eric, thank you very much. Eric Chinje, Chief Executive Officer, African Media Initiative.